Welcome to Season 3 of the award-winning show, Enhance Your Chance, a guide to maximizing your possibilities. We're glad you've joined us. My name is Laura Caton.
And I'm Ron Caton. And as always, Laura and I will be your hosts on this journey.
First, we'd like to thank you, our viewers, who have tuned in season after season. And for those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome. Enhance Your Chance is a skill-building show. Our goal is to increase your awareness to some of the most essential skills that you need to succeed in professional environments. Now, what do we consider a professional environment? It could be an interview, the workplace, the classroom, a scholarship meeting, or even community or volunteer service. This show and the skills that we discuss will help you to enhance your chance for success. It is my pleasure to have on the show this guest. Assemblyman George Latimer is serving in his first term representing the Westchester communities of Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Rye, Portchester, Rybrook, and part of New Rochelle. Assemblyman Latimer possesses a varied career in business and in public service, serving in his 18th year in public office. Assemblyman Latimer holds a BA from Fordham University and a master's degree in public administration from New York University's Wagner School. By profession, Assemblyman Latimer is a marketing executive with over 20 years of experience working with major corporations, for instance, Nestle, AT&T, and IBM, just to name a few. He has served in elected public office for nearly 2 decades, including chairman of the Westchester County Board of Legislators. He was actually the first Democrat to hold that position. In public office, Assemblyman Latimer has established an enviable record of accomplishments, including protecting Long Island Sound and lowering property taxes. It is my personal privilege to have with him on our show. I'd like to welcome Assemblyman George Latimer. Welcome.
Laura,
Welcome, George.
Ron, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight.
Well, as we said, George, we have a series of questions that relate to this whole topic of employment in the workplace tonight. But before we do, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what our show has consisted of over the past 2.5 years. As Laura mentioned, we try to discuss topics that relate to employment, starting with how to write a good resume and a cover letter and a thank you note, the writing aspect of it. If you're selected to come to the interview, which we hope applicants who write a good resume are invited to do, then how do you dress properly for the interview? How do you conduct yourself at the interview? How do you respond to questions and so forth? And if you're selected for the position, then how do you excel as an employee? How do you make yourself stand out from the person next to you who's also a new employee? And then how do you advance in your career? So this year we've talked about managing the management aspect of a career, good management techniques and so forth. So this, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to do. Tonight's emphasis will be on, related to the 15 times, will be related to what skills persons can take with them when they transfer from one job to the other. And you're the perfect example. From a marketing career into government, you had to take certain skills that enabled you to succeed in your new career as a politician.
And that's a very good point, because I'd like to just emphasize our show topic. Our show topic is transferable skills in the workplace. And really, what does that mean? And is that a help or hindrance to you, the job applicant? So talking about some of the skills to Assemblyman Latimer that you just emphasized, I'd be interested to know how those skills, these transferable basic general skills, have maybe influenced you either in your growth from county legislator to assemblyman or just in general.
Well, it's interesting because when you talk about the process of interviewing for a job, where you are in your career, any of us who are in public office are constantly interviewing and having to pass, or have judgment passed on us by voters. None of us are given 18-year assignments. You know, you have a 2-year term when you're a state or a county legislator, a state assembly member. Members of the Mamaroneck Village Board serve 2-year terms. So we're constantly in the position of having to exhibit skills and convince people that whatever it is they're looking for in their assemblyman, that I can fill that need for 2 years, knowing that 2 years later, you have to go back through the process again, and you have to earn whatever that endorsement is. What's interesting, I think, in my experience in public office now, is I thought that when I first ran for public office back in 1987 in the city of Rye, when I served in the Rye City Council, I thought I had a real deficiency because I was not a lawyer. And my perception is that those who go into public office, particularly in a legislative capacity, drafting legislation, that to be a lawyer was really the essential skill that you needed to have. And absent that, it would be difficult to perform on a level of the other folks. What I learned, which is the premise of your show tonight, excuse me, is that the skills that you have in communications, which include understanding information, but being able to convey that to people and to be persuasive with them, is as important for me in a marketing career, which began in the sales capacity, because you don't really start on day one just devising advertising or public relations efforts. You have to begin to understand who is the customer, what is the competition and the environment you're in as a salesperson. And you learn that first and foremost by interacting with clients. That's exactly where I'm at all these years later when I walk down Mamaroneck Avenue or Main Street in Portchester. Those basic skills of communications, the ability to hopefully cut through what can be complicated information, make it understandable for people at whatever level of interest or understanding they have, and to be persuasive to them that whatever it is that I'm advocating makes sense to them. And they have the right to say, no, it doesn't make sense. No, I don't agree with you. And so in that dynamic, those skills from my marketing career are directly transferable, and I use them every day.